how did I get to this place in my life? And if you don't like it, then the door is right there. You can never truly anticipate the feeling getting your gut punched out of you. So we're gonna go a little freeform with this video, which is something I don't normally do because I get kind of calculated with what I wanna say on here on YouTube because I don't wanna be taken the wrong way. Speaking to a camera is still not natural for me even after 10 months of doing YouTube. But I'm going kind of freeform because of just what this video is about, the courage to be seen. I don't want this to come off as preachy at all. I don't want any of my self-improvement videos to come off as preachy because that's definitely not my intention. I am not all-knowing with like self-improvement and self-growth and everything, but I am in my own process of rebuilding my life. And so a lot of these things I want to talk to you about because I'm learning for myself. And if there are things that I'm finding are helpful for me, then I would love to make videos on that. I get that the fact that you clicked on this video means that you want to talk a little bit about what the topic is. Obviously, that's the whole point. I do have some notes I'm going to be referring to, but other than that, it's just you and me here. So the courage to be seen can be taken in so many ways. The courage to go after the job you've always wanted, the courage to audition for that role you've always dreamed of, even just the courage to be seen again after a relationship has ended. And almost most importantly, in my opinion, the courage to see yourself for who you really are with the most honesty as possible. In every scenario you could apply this, it's really about being vulnerable and accepting that there is a chance that you could fail and there's a chance you could experience disappointment. But one of the bigger lessons I'm learning right now is that the price of experiencing failure and disappointment is worth so much more than wondering what if for the rest of your life. And you might forget about it after time goes by, you stop thinking about certain things, but it never fully exits your mind. It could just live there, that what if. And letting yourself not feel that way is worth so much more. It's easier said than done, for sure, to go for it and to take that risk and to take that bold move because no one besides you is going to understand your specific stakes. No one knows your own emotional blockages, your own challenges, your own fears. Nobody knows any of that but you. So some people's leap to find the courage to be seen can be much larger than a lot of other people's. Some people's can be just a lot shorter distance to cover, and it can feel easier to make those decisions just based on your own personality and your own experiences. It's so much easier said than done to be like, disappointment and failure, plant that seed for growth. And who wouldn't want growth? But no human I know would want to experience something so painful. However, there is like a little piece of me, I don't know, maybe you feel this way too. There's like all my normal emotions, and then there's one little piece of me that just wants that adrenaline, that is just begging to be dragged through the mud, that it just wants to experience some sort of emotional high. It does not care if it's happiness or sadness. So that craving just kind of drives me to make these impulsive choices, and that little piece of me, that voice is really, really strong. And it gets so much stronger the more that we're all in COVID and can't make those bold moves and live that exciting life that we may want to. No matter what, that little piece of me, which I think is related to just having an ego in general, is never prepared for that fall. No matter how easy you think the jump is going to be, you can never truly anticipate the feeling, that feeling of like getting just your gut punched out of you. You can never truly know what that's going to be like until you experience it and how painful it can be. So yes, it's obviously scary, but I guess you cannot have courage without that risk. Otherwise, courage wouldn't even be courage. But that's what makes courage so exciting to me, is that there's a lot riding on it, but you do it anyway. But I guess what I'm trying to say with that is that, it's not easy to risk your own happiness for something new that's maybe not comfortable or what you're used to. And I'm wondering with COVID, how difficult it's going to be to allow ourselves to be seen after like COVID's over, after spending so much time being guarded and being alone or being in your own bubble, really. Even though a lot of us are living with other people, you still are missing so much social interaction. And after getting used to that, I wonder how difficult it's going to be to actually like let people in when we get back to being more social, especially with social media involved. Like, I don't know about you, but I've gotten so used to calculated reactions on social media that I miss And I kind of forget what it's like to experience the sweetness of a real authentic moment, of seeing someone's reaction to something you said as that being like what's really happening. And you don't get to see that through interactions on social media. You only see what they want you to see. They have time to think of a response. You have time to think of a response. Is this interaction even remotely authentic? But it's definitely what I've gotten used to. So interactions on social media can make things seem like it'll be easier to take this risk because you have that wall between you and another person via like your phone. So how difficult is it really going to be to get back into our normal interactions? And how much courage is it actually going to take to allow someone to see how you actually feel about something and to receive something real as well, if we're only getting this artificial view of people's lives? And I'll just be like really open because that's what we're doing today. That's this video. That's the vibe. I have been in therapy for a few months and it's been the best decision I've made for myself. So I've been talking to my therapist about this, how true risks, like taking a true risk, doesn't feel as scary or even risky when you are solid within yourself. And obviously it's a process to get to that space. And personally, I'm same as you. I'm growing, I'm evolving. I don't have all the answers. But if I know for sure that no matter what job I apply for, whether the interview goes bad or well, about whoever I pursue or want to connect with, if that goes good or bad, the outcome does not matter, because I know at the end of the day that I have a home within my heart and my own mind, and that I have complete happiness just from that. So anything external, like a job, a relationship, a friendship, any opportunity, all of that is just external. I don't need any of that to be happy because I have that sense of home within myself. That's what I'm absolutely working towards right now. The second I put my happiness onto external influences, the more I'm going to be let down, and the more risky risks seem, and the more it takes out of me to do anything like relatively out of my comfort zone, because I had put my happiness into everything around me and nowhere near here. And I used to have this like false sense of confidence around other people that would be like, this is me, this is who I am, and if you don't like it, then the door is right there and you can get out. And there's something to that confidence, but behind that was just a lot of insecurities. So I'm learning to switch that inner dialogue to be like, this is me, this is who I am, and if you don't like me, then that is completely fine. You do you. But at the end of the day, I know I've got myself. So that ease about it is something that I found is so helpful. That helps let things in your life that are meant to be there, and helps let things go out of your life that are not meant to be there, and not hanging on to like that emotion behind it, that anger. And that alone just makes going for something that you want just so much easier. And it makes it feel so much more attainable too, because you've lowered the expectations, you've lowered those stakes. You know that you're going to be happy no matter what the outcome is. Then it's just easier to realize that like, oh, it's not meant for me at this time. And sometimes you can just know that intuitively anyway. Like you can feel something's wrong, even if you really desperately want it. You know it's not right for you. It takes a lot to be able to walk away. But on the plus side, on a more optimistic side, you can be open to what you want manifesting in a different way further down the road. Because you didn't get that job, or because that person didn't want you back, or whatever you got rejected from. Zoom out a little bit and see like, if that was meant for me, it's not meant for me now. And it can be further down the road, but to stay open to it and just make the next right choice for you. So since we're getting into it kind of personal, we'll just take this really literally. Like the courage to be seen is the courage to see yourself in the most honest and authentic way possible, seeing yourself for who you really are. And it does take courage to look at yourself in the mirror every day and honestly see what's there. I'm turning 30 this year, and there have been a lot of moments where I look in the mirror and I'm like, wow, she's getting older. And it's like that childish mentality of like, you never really think you're gonna get wrinkles or gray hairs, but when you do, it just kind of puts that mortality in your life into perspective. Sometimes looking in the mirror, seeing that I'm getting old makes me Seeing that I'm getting older makes me want to live my life with more risk, with more courage. So I stare at myself in the mirror and I'm like noticing these fine lines that are coming up around my eyes. I look at myself and think like, how did I get to this place in my life? Like, it's weird that just seeing fine lines can make you question that or think that. It takes like a lot of discipline to be able to look at yourself that way and not want to change it. And I had a great example of this in my first grade teacher. She had so many wrinkles around her eyes and even like those smile lines, whatever. I so love that I had her as a role model in that way, because she taught me that those lines come from just a lifetime of happiness and smiling. And they also come from a lot of pain and growth. And that example so young meant so much to me, because it forced me to think like, I want to look like that when I'm older, because seeing wrinkles means that I've lived a very fulfilling life. And that's what they symbolize to me. And that's why I wouldn't change a thing about this. But it doesn't mean it's any easier to like really see myself for who I actually am. And maybe some of you can relate to that if you're, getting up there. You're not alone. You are worthy of that job. You are worthy of that opportunity. You are worthy of finding that fulfilling partnership. None of that can happen without that vulnerability, without that risk, without exposing yourself, without fear of losing it all. While it does take a lot of courage to be seen, no one is going to see you. No opportunity is going to find you if you don't show yourself. To try and further encourage you, think about a moment where you've just feeling the most genuine happiness and thinking like all of that pain, all that growth, experiencing that failure was all worth it because of this happiness I have today. And this happiness would not exist without those twists and turns, without going for things that were right for me, that I thought were right for me, that turned out to not be, but led me on this direction to find this happiness. That is the greatest gift possible. But obviously, nothing can happen like that if there's no risk involved. And if you can approach every small decision, every small moment, not even big stakes, I'm really talking small decisions. If you can approach that with as much honesty to yourself and with as much truth as possible, those will add up to your life path. And that's how you can feel like you're on the right track and feel like you're moving your life in a direction that is really meant for you, that feels just so authentic to who you are. And all those tiny little gut instincts that you're choosing to follow lead to so many good rewards. But obviously, not every little decision is going to be easy, but that's just completely a part of life. So by making all those small little right choices, you'll get to the end of your life and not feel like you had anything left to live, and with no regrets. And you will be so grateful for all those little moments where you chose to move your life forward instead of hiding and letting yourself be seen for who you are. But of course, it just always starts with yourself. If this video resonated with you, make sure to give it a thumbs up before you go. The engagement really does help continue to grow my channel. Definitely leave a comment and say hi if you're new, or speak your mind, whatever you want to say, just put it in the comments. And if watching my content is something that brings you joy or could bring you future joy, subscribe. Don't miss out. So thank you so much for watching out. I will see you in my next video.